So good morning, everybody. This is a quick one, and it's an advice to I am Marwa. Now, I am from watching the host trainer's video that he just uploaded, and there's something critical that there's one of the comments that I read there, and he said he was chased from the villa with injuries without anything, and categorically, if you take it seriously, like chase means like go. I don't want to see you leave. Now, I am Marwa. I understand you could have been hurt considering like you had two horses that died. That is basic knowledge to anybody who has been watching a content. And you could have been hurt, honestly, and I know you were hurt emotionally because if you give people instructions to go and graze your horses to the school and they decide to go to town, obviously there's a misunderstanding there. But the problem is one of your horse trainers was hurt by a horse that belongs to you. Now, it's okay to complain about it, to say what happened, but one of the comments said he was chased away. It's there in his YouTube channel with injuries. We don't know how serious and severe the injuries are, but let me just hope and pray they're not that serious. But I'm gonna give you an honest advice on this one. The guy was working with your horses and he's injured. And here on the streets, you have so many enemies. There are people who have been waiting for any small opportunity to take your reputation away and to hurt your brand. I am Marwa, by the way. It's not everything that you need to air. You could have handled that with Max. You and Max alone. Take him to the hospital, settle the bills. If you're going to fire him and don't let anybody know. Just leave it. On this one, you need people who are close to you and people who can advise you and tell you the truth because some of your subscribers are not telling you the truth. The reality is some things that are happening are going to hurt your brand. You have a traveling company and you have horses. Now, the last time I checked, when you were doing Goko's house, you do a lot of positive things. But then it's the small things that can really, really hurt your brand. Because the last time I checked, you had a brand something. There's a guy who had come there and he was to be brand manager or something like that. He was the one who's supposed to manage your brand. And I think at that time you were taking the right steps. And then after some time, you had three horse trainers. Two did not stay for long. Then we had Max Brian, who stayed for quite some time, but now he's out. As far as I'm concerned, those are the professionals I know who've been there, but then now they're not working there. And that can damage your brand. You might not see it, but it can really, really damage your brand. And I'm gonna give you examples. Of course, you do know Cristiano Ronaldo. Right now, we know Salah, Mohamed Salah. You also know of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is one of the richest guys. He's actually, I believe, at the moment, he's the richest person. He's the wealthiest person on the planet. And they were very close with the current president of the United States of America. But the day Elon Musk thought that he's above, he's more than the president, that's the day he realized that as long as we're in the United States of America, The person number one is always going to be number one. The United States of America is number one. And Ilhan Omar is also going to learn that very soon. There they don't joke with the president. The president holds a lot of power. So as much as Elon Musk was rich, see what happened to his brand. When Elon Musk started feeling as if he owns the world, see what happened to his brand. See what has happened to Tesla. The stock market really dropped. The sales dropped. Go to Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the best, one of the best. Actually, him and Lionel Messi, they rival at number one. See what happened. When he went to Man U, when he was benched, he started feeling as if, I've done a lot for this club, which is true. He did a lot for the club. But what happened later? He was shown the door. Luckily, that is a guy who is so big, you would not really hurt his brand. Look at what is happening at Mohamed Salah right now. Despite helping to clear the 30 years dry spell for a title, he feels as if the club has put him under the bus. Those are called sins of betrayal. So with this one, you really need to think about your brand from a different perspective. I know you have a lot of subscribers who are going to follow you no matter what happens. But on this one, you're wrong, brother. You're wrong. And I'm not trying to say that what Marx they did, because we've only had one side of the story, your side of the story. I'm not trying to justify what happened, because in every job where you have the employer and the employee, there are agreements. You have to agree on the terms and conditions. So if the terms and conditions were not followed, then you have the right to do what you're gonna do. But when an accident occurs, you have the responsibility as the employer to handle that with a lot of wisdom. That's why in leadership we talk about emotional intelligence, conflict management, and other things as part of leadership skills. Here you are the leader here. To him whom much is given, much is expected. Brother, we want to see you succeed. And for you to succeed, sometimes you're going to have to be counseled. You're going to have to be told, this and this did not go right. And you listen to the people who are telling you that. And especially people like us who want the best for you. Because that incident is going to give the negative reactors vibes. It's going to give them content after content. And that's one thing you have to avoid. And that's real. And the last thing you want is to be dragged in court because of such injuries, because the guy was working for you, whether you have an agreement written or not. Again, there are rules of firing. You don't just chase somebody away, just go, leave. That's a person you employed. The way you deal with an employee and friends is quite different. For the way you deal with the guys who betrayed you when they went and bought land that was meant to be bought by your sister is different from the way you can deal with somebody like Max. Max is an employee. And you are a brand. The whole world is watching you. And a lot of people want to see you succeed. Because there's a good side of you. I cannot ignore the fact that you've really worked a lot to help Mike Kizo, Daniel, Brian, etc. I'm not ignorant. I'm not a negative reactor. But again, something like that has happened. Somebody needs to tell you the truth. And the truth is, If I were you, I would call Brian. I would call Max Brian. I would call Max Brian because maybe the instinct at that time was to chase him away, if that's what happened. But afterwards, when you relax emotionally, call Brian, call Max Brian, talk to him one on one. See the way you can do things to avoid the internet because this can really hurt your brand. It can really, really hurt your brand considering you have so many haters. And those haters, by the way, they have a lot of energy to come after you. They always wait for you to blunder. Don't give them content. You call Max Brian, be the bigger person. No man is an island. Everybody makes mistakes. And I believe the way you handled it maybe should have been handled differently. Kenyans do call out the president every single time. We have demonstrations every single time. He's a human being, he's not perfect, and it's true, he has been making mistakes. So allow people, and especially people who want to see you succeed. There's critic that is positive and there's critic that's negative. But allow people to tell you the truth. Sometimes the truth really hurts. Sometimes we can't bear the truth, but it's that truth that will help you. And I hope all is going to be fine after that. But we are really, really rooting for you to succeed. Try a way out, manage that conflict, manage that disagreement outside the camera, settle it out with Brian Marks, and we hope for the best. Because, there's no way I'm going to hate Max Brian. You introduced Max Brian to us. There's no way I'm going to hate you. I've always been following your content for a long time. Just because you don't agree with somebody does not mean that I have to necessarily hate that person. I'm not that stupid. Even the viewers, anybody who has common sense understands that these disagreements occur anytime. People are hired and they're fired every day. But there's always a better way of handling things. If a conflict can be handled, if a conflict can be managed, then let it be managed in a proper way because you might be hurting your brand a lot, a lot. So be careful out there. And I'm wishing you the very best. Anyway, for you, so far as we have been watching your content, we've witnessed 3 horse trainers, professionals. I don't know what happened to the other 2, but the ones we are accustomed to is Max. But as things are right now, he's no longer working at your villa. Now, we are yet to get the whole details about what really happened. At least you give us a snippet of what may have happened. And you claimed they were doing the horses in town or something like that. I don't know. But this is what I'm gonna say. Those horses are an expensive investment. Very expensive investment. And horses require a lot of care. Now, I've watched a lot of videos of yours, and there are moments, of course, you'll give directions on what you'd want with your horses, which is very okay. At the end of the day, they are your horses. That's an investment that you made. But again, you have professionals. And once you have a professional, the professional is the one who's supposed to be telling you what needs to be done. Well, like you said, there are things Max may not have known. That's why you needed a professional, the one who came from Nairobi. But now that Max is gone, who are you left with to take care of those horses? That's a huge investment. The risks are high now. And my suggestion would be maybe perhaps you might rethink about having another professional, maybe today or if, I don't know, because you see, Marwa, we want you to succeed. I personally would love to see you succeed even more. I want to see more of you succeed, not just with the horses, even with your tour company, with your family and everything. Some of us who watch your content, as much as we will never, personally, I will never join the negative gang. Never. Because I've seen the other side of you, the good side. I've seen how you've really, really promoted your community. I've seen you building houses there. I've seen a lot of YouTubers grow from nothing and they've become people. The likes of Kizo Daniel, KC, and many others. Today, as we are speaking, people like Chalokush and Lynette, you have had a hand in their journey. You see, Boss Marwa, there's a reason as to why kings in the Bible had advisors, and they were called advisors for a reason. They needed them so that they can give account of what's going, they can give advice. Anytime the king would even have a dream, he would not interpret that dream. He required people who can interpret that dream so that he can make the right decisions. Ayamaro, you are a king. You cannot be a lone ranger. You need people, and honest people who are going to work with you, people who can also correct you. I believe with the subscribers, you do have some people who you interact with, but on ground, you need people who you can work with. There's a video you released, and you're saying there are two friends who betrayed you. They went and bought land that was meant for your sister. I mean, that your sister had interest in. And that needs to tell you something. There are so many snakes within the camp. Your success has really attracted a lot of haters, within and without. And you can see it, it's inevitable. And you're so blessed by God. And this video is not, I'm not really trying to hate on you. This is an advice. When you're dealing with professionals, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful. You're going to have to let them be. Don't resist any urge to micromanage them. All you need with your horses is give directions. These horses have to be trained. These horses have to go to school. This is what you want. These are the results I expect. And you leave it at that. Let the professionals be. Just give them work and leave it. And I've also seen a lot of subscribers, they have been telling you, lock up that gate. And we know you have a good heart. The reason as to why the gate is always open is because you don't want to close out on anybody. Blessings have come on your way by you being very empathetic to people. But it comes a time where you have to choose yourself. And part of you choosing yourself is choosing a team. Once you choose a team, you are the leader. All you need to do is give instructions and then let them be. Don't micromanage anybody. Let them do whatever they want to do as long as they're not messing up. Horses are very, very sensitive. You've already lost two. You don't want to lose more. But at the same time, horses, they're also very dangerous animals. We do not have details over what happened with your horse trainer, but We're just hoping all is well. Because as far as I'm concerned, that guy was a very nice guy. He seemed like a very good hearted guy. He loved his job. He worked hard. He has a channel where if as a viewer I watched that channel and I watch all those videos, I can tell this is a guy who was really dedicated to his work. And whatever may have happened, that may have been an accident. There are things people can always sit down and talk out. Worst case scenario is that you lose a horse. Those things were very, very expensive. But we are hoping that all is gonna go on while moving forward. So I wish you all the best on that journey. And I hope all is gonna be well. But have professionals who understand their work. And when you have a professional, don't micromanage them. Let them be. Let them have the freedom to exercise their professionalism. Because there's no any other way you're gonna have that. And again, you cannot be a master of everything. There are areas where you're just so perfect, you're so good at. When it comes to construction, the way you manage that Gold Coast project, that was commendable. That was a nice job. The way you're managing your own personal life, perfect job. Traveling, and you see, for people who've watched you for a very long time, they understand you. And that's why it becomes a little bit difficult for us to deviate and listen to the negative comments and what naysayers love to do. But at the same time, we must caution you. Already, this is probably one another difficult moment for you. You just experienced from your own confession that there are people in your camp who betrayed you. Now, we have an accident involving your horses. If you read through a lot of your comments, there are people who keep on telling you that don't allow kids in your compound. And as much as you'd love to have kids in your compound because they love it there, they love the freedom they get in your compound, it exposes them to a different kind of lifestyle. It also gives them a platform to learn about things. It's also a good image for them. You know, they've never seen such a structure, they've never seen horses, they've never seen a person build such a kingdom. As much as it's good, there's also a disadvantage in that. That gate should be locked and have professionals. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving forward, 2025 has been terrible. It has had had its beauty and the ugly. 2026, we don't want to hear any uglies. We want to see the good side that we are used to. And it's obvious you have a very good heart. You've opened up your hands to so many people. But at the same time, it's time to deal with professionals. On the other hand, we are going to talk about David Jr. So, we all know that initially we used to see David Jr. with Matiko, Moremi, and another guy by the name Brian Vapor. Now, there's one common thing about the three of them. They were struggling with addiction, alcohol addiction. So as we are speaking right now, the three of them no longer rides on the same train. So we have Matiko, who had the advantage of a new donor. And as things are right now, things are boiling out nicely. There's a lot of drama that goes on in that village. Now, Matiko may have lost the donor because the person who was entrusted with the project of building a new house for them by the name Gintu, he turned out to be a scammer. And now he's being exposed by another lady called the Pasi. Now, with Gintu, he was sent money, but instead of using that money for the right project, he decided to use that money for his own benefit. For instance, there's a phone he was supposed to buy worth 29,000 Kenyan shillings, but he ended up buying a phone worth 15,000 Kenyan shillings. So where is the remaining money? What did he do with the remaining amount of money? Now, when David Jr. was doing content with Moremi, Matiko and David Jr. and the other guy, Brian Pepper, people thought that he's using them for content, that without them he has no content. But deep down, I believe David Jr. was really, really struggling because he's dealing with people who are struggling with addiction. Now, addiction is a dangerous thing because it limits one's ability to do what they're supposed to be doing. And in this case, because even when donors were willing, when well wishers were willing to support the likes of Matiko and Moremi, buying them motorbikes, buying them goats, cows, and hens, all we could see is that Matiko would take up everything he's being given and sell. And so when there was a fallout, the daughter instructed David Jr. to go and pick up everything because we are not here to support somebody to take alcohol. Now, Gintu has also come out and said the same thing, confirmed the same thing, that Matiko has been taking alcohol all through. He never stopped taking alcohol. And Gintu would wait when Matiko has taken lunch, when he's a little bit sober, to make a video. Now, the reason as to why I'm saying David Jr. has been vindicated is because initially people were so happy that David Jr. is no longer going to make contact with Matiko, Moremi, and the likes. At least for Moremi, his house is being built by a guy called Max One. At least there's progress in that house. For Matiko, there's nothing. And this is the dangers of having a donor who is willing to see people fight instead of coming in as a conflict manager. She came in to see people fight out of being jealous because David Jr. was doing very well on YouTube. She came to divide the community. And I'm going to be very, very honest with you. If there's a person who wanted the best for Matiko, if there's a person who wanted the best for all these guys, it's none other than David Jr. David Jr. was there. He even understood that for these guys to transform, they need to maybe go to a rehab. They need to, first of all, quit alcohol addiction. And then from there, they can figure out how they're going to help each other, how they're going to work as a team. Because in that village, when you're sober and you have a camera and you understand your audience, it's very, very easy to make content and get views and get your money. Because at the end of the day, YouTube is here to benefit whoever wants to benefit. It's just a platform. But here we are. Ginto allowed himself to be used by that lady. And now that lady wants to use another guy called Village Echoes. And she's still bitching about David Jr. I don't know what's her issue with David Jr. She has never supported him, but she has a lot of issues with him, which I find unfair and hypocritical. Well, We're just gonna be seated here and wait to see how things are going to unravel. But that village is in deep mess, and I don't know what they're going to do to come out of that mess. Other than that, uh, I'm glad to see the people who support David Jr. and his brother, I am Marwa, doing very well. And there are YouTubers who are actually doing very, very well with that village content. The likes of Kinyasa is also another guy I'm really liking. And with the Village TV, I'm hoping to see a lot of content because sometimes we don't have the time to watch a lot of that content. There are specific people who would want to see. Lastly, let me talk about Daniel. If there's a guy I'm really rooting for to succeed, is Daniel. Daniel, his project is almost done. I believe by next year on February, he will have done exploits and a lot of things. I believe he will be doing now the finishing, interior finishing. He will have got into his house, started doing finishing, and perhaps even complete finishing. And the rest is gonna be history. So in the previous video, we just saw him welcome the Jamaican visitors, who apparently live in the US. And it was also very good to see Goko being very, very vibrant. The Brian's grandmother being very, very vibrant, happy, and she's slowly becoming an extrovert. I mean, she is one of the people we can say has moved from a grass to grace within few months because her house was completed with just 1 month. Now, welcoming the Jamaican visitors was good to see. Other than that, we're just gonna wait for the drama that's going to unravel because we're really waiting for Ayamaro to expose the two fake friends who went behind his back, bought land that was meant for his sister. That's some drama that I'm curious and ready to see. As we are coming to the weekend, we need more entertainment, and that village has proven to give us a lot of entertainment. So, other than that, you guys please subscribe to my channel, comment, like, and share. I'm gonna be here for long, and especially when I'm not moving out, there's a lot for us to cover in the streets. So, goodbye, and see you in the next one. And please don't forget to subscribe and like my videos. Thank you so much.